All right, hello, and welcome to journal entry number 6 today. Today it is very important because I'm going to go through some things that are important, more or less, for um, going fully through the script. Now, what I mean by that is the main topics I have today are key points and the 7-step techniques, which I will get into later on. And these are important mainly due to the fact that when writing a script, they kind of give you a stepping off point into how your entire film is going to go, but more importantly, how your characters are going to be, how they're going to act, and their opponents, the battles, the realizations that they have, and a bunch of other info that, yet again, I'll get into. The film I selected for this project, I will say it really was. Um, it was a shocker to me because I've never really seen this movie before. Never have I even knew it existed, but after finding it, it is such a nice ball of surprise on what it is. So the main definitions and concepts I have today, we're gonna get to key points. Now, key points essentially are certain parts of a script that are very instrumental and detrimental to your plot and what's going to happen and everything that's being introduced. And the 7-step technique is a part of that. And essentially, they go from your weakness and need, your desire, your opponent, your plan, the battle, the self realization, and the new equilibrium. Now, those are lots to explain, but essentially, you kind of get the idea of what these techniques are, and that they're essentially just ways and, yet again, techniques that when making a script, they help you kind of lay the groundworks for how certain scenes are going to go, how certain parts of the script are going to go, and really how your story's going to end, your characters mostly. But it's just a conundrum of techniques that are really detrimental and important and play a key role in your script and what you're going to be doing with your story in the meantime. Now, the purpose of these concepts in any film is everything. They literally tell the story for you um, and help your characters kind of understand who they are in stories. And essentially, um, they can play a big part in how you write your screenplay and like where certain parts go and where they can end. And I think anybody can recognize them if you watch just any movie, really, like any superhero movie, which I'll come back to later. Like you can see pretty much every single part of the 7-step technique in there, as well as some key points that can be laid out and introduced later on. And the advantages they have, they really can help your script, they can help your story, they can help the ideas that you have going around about how you want this to go. But at the same time, it can be really hard to juggle all these at once. Like if you look at Joss Whedon with Avengers Age of Ultron, he mentioned how he used the 7-step technique to kind of figure out all these characters he's introducing and these new ones that he's bringing in, and how it was a nightmare trying to figure out how the 7-step process can linger in, and how he needs to take some things in, some things out, and it can be a conundrum. So it's best. The best strategy I have is to kind of figure out real quickly what techniques you're going to use and how useful they can be to your process. Otherwise, you'll just overload your brain. So the film I picked is called Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless in 2004 with Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet. And essentially, it tells the story of two kind of broken lovers who have broken away from each other, and they're trying to wipe their memories of the significant others that they have with each other. Like for instance, Jim Carrey's character wants to get rid of Kate Winslet's character from his memory, and then vice versa. And the film presents these techniques in a lot of ways. You really do see the characters having this desire to kind of split their memories of the significant other from them. And the real battle is essentially they want to get rid of this, but at the same time, they're kind of hashing out, but can I really get rid of these memories of this woman that I lived my life with? Can I really get over that? And their weaknesses and their needs really play into it. And in the very ending, which is really a big part of self revelation and new equilibrium, it gives a whole new purpose to the both of them. And if you watch the movie, you'll see how that plays into it and how the movie really does a good job of following the 7-step techniques in just every way possible. So it does a really good job at succeeding in that. And really, I couldn't find any faults with it because it literally is a step by step of the 7-step techniques, and it does it so well, and it perfectly blends in with this crazy story that's being told about mind wiping memories. But they do a solid job at it, and it's really impressive. So those are really the best moments of where you get to see how these two are kind of like that. However, that's also kind of its downfall because the worst parts about it is there's a subplot where essentially they try to introduce this other couple that's like, well, this could be them if they kept the memories. And it works for the irony of it, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I get what they're doing and I have no problem with it. But it's just kind of like, it comes out of nowhere, but that's just a little minor complaint. Otherwise, it is those two main other characters that are introduced besides the main two are a good kind of irony into what would happen if these memories of their lovers stayed with them. So it does a really good job of that. How I use these theories and concepts in writing, it's pretty simple. Like, it's just something that you have to use to make your script stronger and your characters better. Otherwise, the whole thing can just really fall apart and just seem disillusional. What I learned from the film is that you can take a weird plot like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and really turn it into a really emotional and kind of endearing story about trying to wipe your memories of someone you love. But yet again, through the 7-step techniques that the film introduces, it brings up a lot of challenges for something like that. But the film does it perfectly. And the main two stars, I thought, really did a good job of portraying characters who have to go through that. And really, the connections I learned from the writing of these points, it's kind of like superhero movies. You have your character who has these weaknesses and needs, these desires. They have their enemy, the opponent. They have to make a plan out, the battle, the fight scenes, and kind of the self realization of, is this a hero I want to be for the rest of my life, or can I just quit? And at the end, you kind of give them a new purpose, like Batman Forever, where, yes, it's kind of a bad movie, but at the end, Batman kind of finds this new purpose of, you know, I'm not Batman because I have to be, I'm Batman because I choose to be. And that's a good self realization and revelation of that character that we don't really see a lot. And really, the 7-step technique is something interesting in hindsight, in insights of it. And it's just good all around to kind of have these steps at some point in your script. So the key points in your 7-step techniques are very instrumental. They can help set up a whole lot that you can tell in storytelling, and it can really set your story for the greater good. And that's really all I have to say on that. And my citation is Truby John on the 7 key steps of story structure. My name is Justin, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.